Well, now joining us here on A's Cast Live, he's one of our favorites, the manager of the Las Vegas Aviators. Fran Riordan is with us once again. Fran, how are you? Have you been since the last time we talked at spring training?
Been great, just getting acclimated back to the season and traveling, and now we're home for a straight week, so we have an exciting series coming up here.
Whenever we have you on or we have anybody on from Vegas, we realize you guys got great merch. Your merchandise, your hats, all the different unis and shirts. You guys got a great selection down there.
Yeah, they set us up pretty good here. This little orange thing I'm wearing, I can wear it as pajamas at night. It's so soft, so I love wearing this thing. And I breathe well. There's a lot of positives to this shirt I got going on here.
Well, obviously, some of your guys are starting to come up, and a player that's so interesting. You didn't have him a lot, Mason Miller. You just think about his story. My daughter is a type 1 diabetic, so I understand what he went through. He was diagnosed later than a lot of kids with juvenile diabetes, and to know that what he's gone through and how he's grown in our game and hasn't had a whole lot of time. But, man, just talk about what you saw with him and what you saw in that first start. It's pretty electric stuff.
Yeah, it's incredible. Mason's not only an inspiration to, tens of thousands of young kids around the country and the world that have juvenile diabetes and how he overcame it, but you go to the baseball side of it and you talk about his mix, his fastball up to 102. He's got a wicked cutter that he's just starting to break out to hitters at 95, 96. He's got a pretty good breaker and a good changeup. And then you combine that with his command and his mound presence and the ability to attack the strike zone with any pitch that he has. And he's a pretty special guy. And let me tell you about that start he had here in Vegas where, he pitched 5 innings. He struck out 11. He didn't walk anybody. It was just something special to watch. Probably one of the best starts I've ever seen in my career.
Yeah, because to have somebody with that kind of stuff throw strikes, I mean, you've seen a lot of guys who throw really hard and are just, blessed with a God-given arm, but they don't always know where it's going. I mean, the fact that he has it and throws strikes is just rare.
Yeah, it's very rare. And it goes to his delivery. He's got a simple delivery that he's able to repeat. His arm is on time for all 4 of his pitches. And when you have that kind of stuff and you're able to repeat that often, good things are going to happen. And he knows he needs to compete in the strike zone, and he's always going to do that.
With these, and how do you handle it when you have these young pitchers who have unbelievable stuff, but they just struggle to throw strikes? And if you're walking guys, it's a recipe for disaster. I mean, what we got coming up here with Luisa Medina, I mean, it's the same thing. You walk guys, you're going to be in trouble. How do you handle that at the AAA level?
Well, there's a lot of things that we can try to address with guys that have elite stuff, elite velocity, but they don't have that command yet. And it's just, again, having Brian Corey, our pitching coach here, just try to work with them on being able to repeat their delivery. And that's the most important thing, because if your arm's not on time, you're not going to know where the ball is going. There's other things we, as far as up, some guys that aren't with their command, you can't set up on the edges. It doesn't really, get dish and tough hit. So a lot of times we're having Tyler or McCann or Pozo set up middle as opposed to the just give a target. So there's a variety of things that we can try to do here, but at the end of the day, it's all going to be about the pitcher's ability to repeat his delivery. And, that's always the goal here, not only with guys that have the elite velocity, but with everybody, because if you can repeat, if you can throw strikes, if you can compete in the strike zone and limit walks, your chances of success are much greater.
Is there also sometimes where you just got to get into a guy's dish and let him know, hey, you need to go out there and stop nibbling, and you need to go out there and you need to compete, and you need to go after these guys, and you've got to have the confidence that you can throw strikes inside the strike zone, that you can battle in the strike zone and get people out? Because sometimes I think too many times with young pitchers, we see too much nibbling.
Yeah, and it's something that, especially here in Las Vegas's environment, you got the thin air, you have altitude, you have a desert climate, and the ball's gonna go. So guys, whether it's on purpose or not, they tend to shy away from the heart of the plate, and that's where they end up struggling with their command. They miss off the edges, and then they get themselves into bad counts. And unfortunately, is where all the damage happens when you have to throw a pitch right over the plate. So, it's something that we've addressed since day one of the season. It's something we're going to continue to address.
Now, I got to think, we know how tough it is to pitch down there. Like, if you're throwing the ball really well and you've got terrific numbers, how does that translate? Like, how well are you throwing if you've got really good numbers with AAA Las Vegas and playing in the altitude and the thin air? Just how good are you going if you do have good numbers?
I think the numbers speak for themselves when you have very good numbers, whether it's your WHIP, whether it's your ERA, whether it's your FIP, whatever the standard is that people are looking at to evaluate you. If you have good numbers in the PCL, especially with Las Vegas being your home field, you're doing something right, and that's usually not walking people, competing in the strike zone. They go hand in hand, and it's regardless of stuff, it's regardless of velocity, it's just your ability and your confidence to compete in that strike zone. And I tell these guys all the time, a good pitch here is still a good pitch. A well-located fastball is still a well-located fastball. And if you buy into that, if you have confidence that what you have is better than what the hitter has, you will have success.
Tyler Soderstrom, obviously, we're waiting for the day that he gets his call up and he gets a chance to play up here in the big leagues. We've all kind of watched him grow from a high school kid, just seeing him down at spring training. Shoulders got bigger, he got taller, he's grown into that frame. So far, what are you seeing there with him? I know he had a little time with you last year, but what are you seeing so far?
Well, he's off to a great start. I mean, his bat is flat out got thunder in it. The way it comes off, how hard he consistently hits the ball. Now for Tyler, it's just a matter of refining his approach. We talked a little bit a few days ago when we were in Sugarland about the cat and mouse game of performing at the next level, where he homered and doubled the first game in Sugarland, and then the next night he struck out 4 times because of the way they attacked him. So I said you always have to combat the cat and mouse game and understand what opposing pitchers are trying to do to you, how they're trying to get you out, and lay off the pitch that are trying to get you. So you find yourself in those good counts. And when Tyler finds himself good counts and he gets his pitch, he squares it up 9 times out of 10. So he's a special bat, and his catching's coming along nicely. He's really developing well.
When you watch a player like that, what is it like for you as a manager that as you watch him grow, there is going to be that point to where you go, yep, he's ready? Well, just take us through that when you're watching a player, he's going to be special, or he has an opportunity to be special at the next level. And as you're watching, there's that point hits and you go, yep, it's time, he's ready.
That's a great question. I've been with Tyler in limited opportunities since 2020 at the alt site in San Jose.
Yeah.
And, that's right after we drafted him, and he was very raw defensively. And, he had a lot of chase in him and a lot of swing and miss because he's so gifted with his bat to ball skills. He can hit a lot of different pitches. And then to see him come up at the end of last year and not be phased at all about the jump in competition from AA to AAA, to see him perform in Major League Spring Training this season and the start he's gotten off to, you remember the times 3 years ago where he was struggling or, had deficiencies in certain areas, offensively, defensively, and then you watch him kind of grow over the last 3 years, and what he's doing now, he's really close. And when he gets there, he's going to be an impact guy because of the bat. And it's part of the really fun process of watching these guys develop kind of right in front of your eyes.
One of the players you got, Cody Thomas, is a guy that I've liked a lot, knowing just, his history and being a 2-sport guy. Kind of takes away from your baseball, also takes away from your football when you can't commit to just one because you're so good at both. And obviously he ended up choosing baseball in the end. But we all know if you're going to a program like Oklahoma and you're going to play quarterback at Oklahoma, you are a highly touted high school player. You're going to have size. You're going to have the arm. Under Lincoln Riley's offense at the time, you're going to be able to run. You're going to be able to throw. You're a special athlete. And it takes time once you fully commit to baseball. And looking at the numbers, obviously the numbers can be inflated, but I just think from an athletic standpoint, this kid is he's not a kid anymore, but to us, he's a kid. He's a premier athlete. There's no question about it. Do you think at some point we could see that light go on and that his athleticism, the tools that he's, God-given ability that he's been given can then translate at the highest level here playing baseball?
Well, I think the light already has gone on for Cody, and it started in 2021 when, he was one of the most productive players in the PCL, and then had an unfortunate Achilles injury, missed the last 6 weeks of the season. And then at the end of the year, he was still in the top 10 of every offensive category in the PCL. The Achilles injury took a lot out of him. He came back last year, and when he came here to Las Vegas at the end of the season, you could tell that he didn't have the explosiveness that he had in 21. He didn't have that athleticism that you're speaking of right now, and he wasn't able to get off his ace swing. And this year is like what I saw in 2021. You look at the numbers. He has 26, 27 RBI. He has 7 home runs. He's doing damage. He's having great at bats. He's playing a really good outfield wherever we put him. And Cody's just a guy that just does everything right all the time. He's got tremendous work ethic and discipline, and cares about his body, and cares about doing all the little things right. And the production is definitely there. And I think Cody's gonna have a great major league career.
Yeah, and I know I talk about him all the time, and we had him for a brief time last year, and he struggled a little bit. And I'm sure A's fans are like, why do you keep talking about this guy? Can you back me on this, Fran? This guy is like a really good athlete.
I am 100% with you on this one, Chris. I think he's going to be a really nice player, and provide a lot of power in the middle of the order sometime when he gets his opportunity, because the athleticism, the electricity when the ball comes off his bat is really, really special.
Jordan Diaz is just 22 years old. I know he got the great experience in the WBC. I think that was great for whatever players got to participate in that. Just when you look at him, you've had him now for a while, and we got him up here now. How good of a hitter do you think he can be?
He's kind of like a savant in the batter's box. I don't know how you would game plan to pitch to Jordan Diaz. You can try to get him to chase if he's in, a mode where he's swinging a pitches out of the zone. You can get him, but if you make a mistake over the plate, or even sometimes away from the plate, he can make you pay in so many different ways. He uses the whole field. He can hit velocity. He sees spin and hits spin well. He's just a very, very, very good hitter. And you just don't see that kind of bat to ball skills on an everyday basis. And I really hope he continues his hot streak up there.
You had Rosinski, and obviously he just threw the ball real well for 5 innings. I mean, very, kind of sad. He comes over, and you're expecting to be in the rotation. He got a hamstring issue as a pitcher. But what'd you see in him before he came back up here?
He started off a little bit slow. He only had a couple 3 starts with us. He started off a little bit slow and then progressively got better. Drew's one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. So he, whether it was rehab or his throwing program or his plyo program, the guy's a hard worker, and he's very mentally tough. You look at his journey, what he's been through in his career, where he's been in his career. I actually managed against Drew in 2012 in independent ball.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
that's awesome.
I had to go to Wikipedia to find that one out, but that was an interesting little fact. Drew he's throwing the ball well. He had 5 scoreless innings against Sugarland a few days ago, and he's ready to come and help the A's win.
All right, I do that hit in every single game in the 5th inning where we take a look around the minors, brought to you by State Farm. And I'm talking about you guys every single day. Who are some players you would like to highlight, telling A's fans, watch out, these guys could be coming soon?
Well, I think you hit on a couple of them, and Tyler and Cody. Zach Geloff is getting comfortable at this level, and he's having good at bats, and he's playing good defense at second base. Nick Allen has had good at bats since he's come down. Of course, the Oakland fans already know him fairly well. Trent Brooks is a guy who's really swinging the bat well, and he's hit for power. He's hitting for average. He's also playing a good outfield. So those are three guys that I think have really impressed so far, Chris.
And just, I don't know if you got to see it, but this Maggi guy, 33 years old, Drew Maggi with Pittsburgh, went to Arizona State, signed, drafted in 2010. We've talked so many times about, the highlight of your gig is to tell these guys for the first time they're going to the big leagues. It's so, so special. I know how much it means to you. Did you hear about this story and get to see any of it on Twitter, what it probably meant to tell a guy who's 33 years old, you're going to the big leagues for the first time?
I did. I saw the video, and, if that doesn't make your heartstrings tug, then you're not human, because just the visceral emotion that he had when his manager told him he was going up, all the struggle and all the perseverance and all the hard work and all the people that probably said, when are you going to stop doing this and get on with your life? And the fact that after 12 seasons in the minor leagues, he's getting his opportunity. I mean, that's as special as it gets.
All right, let's end on this. Probably the most important thing I'm going to ask you about our Buffalo Bills Mafia. We got the draft coming up here in Kansas City on Thursday. What do we need to do for our Buffalo Bills? What do we need in the draft?
I think we need an impact receiver to give Josh Allen a little bit of help, maybe an offensive lineman or two, and then I'd love to see an elite pass rusher just to put some pressure on the opposing quarterback. But I'm not the GM. Those are just my rudimentary thoughts from afar.
Well, maybe he should call you and get some help. I mean, you're Fran Riordan, for God's sakes.
I'll keep my phone on.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I was so I think I told you this at spring training, but I followed Josh Allen at the AT&T at Pebble Beach, and it was amazing seeing, and there was a bunch of quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers played in front of him, right? There was a bunch of quarterbacks. It's amazing how big, without gear, how big he is. And you think about the way we've seen a lot of big quarterbacks, but they stand in the pocket, right? Peyton Manning, 6'5". Allen, for watching on TV and seeing his size and then standing next to him, really knowing how fast he is, I couldn't believe it how big he is up close.
Yeah, and that's what makes him fun to watch. I mean, he's 6'5", 255, and he's a freight train coming at you. I can't imagine him being very fun to tackle, even if you're a pretty big linebacker. So it's part of the fun in watching Josh Allen, the way he competes and the way he just flat out isn't afraid to run somebody over.
Yeah, at quarterback, it's awesome. He's a special. Yeah. And by the way, he swings out of his you-know-what off the tee.
Doesn't know that big. You got to let it eat,
Yeah, he doesn't know where it's going, but when he gets it, he bombed it. I was like, you know what? I could play with this guy, no question. Hey, Fran, we always love having you on the program. We'll check in again soon. Good luck to you and the Aviators, and be well.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Always a pleasure.